Okay, so what we are going to do today is we are going to learn to multiply matrices. We were able to multiply by a scalar, but we did not learn to multiply matrices. So the first thing we have to talk about is matrices. We have to make sure, it says here that matrices can only be multiplied if the number of columns in the first matrix equals the number of rows in the second. So here, what I'm talking about is if I go ahead and if I look at number 1, these two need to be the same. Since those two are the same, I can multiply, and my resulting matrix is going to be a 4 by 3. So my result is going to be a 4 by 3. If I look at my next one, the inners are not the same, so I can't multiply. So you would just write can't multiply. Now for number 3, these two are the same, so I can multiply, and my result would be a 2 by 4. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that we can multiply matrices. So some teachers may do it where you think across and then you go down and you go across and down. And actually we're going to cross this out because we're not using our calculator. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you a way to go ahead and in order to multiply, I'm going to think about this. First of all, we look at this matrix. This is a 2 by 2, and this is going to be a 2 by 1. So I can go ahead and multiply those. My result is going to be a 2 by 1. So my result's going to be a 2 by 1. Now, when I go ahead and do this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to think about a cross. So I'm going to write it right here. I have 2 comma 1. So I'm going to write that right here. And then I'm going to think across. So I have 0 comma negative 1. And then I have this column. And so I'm going to think about my column. I'm going to think down, but I'm going to write it horizontally. So when I multiply, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3. So I did 2 times 3, and then plus 1 times 1. 1 times 1. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 3 times 0. And then I'm going to do 1 times negative 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to combine those. So this becomes 7. And then this becomes negative 1. So my new matrix, I did tell you it's going to be a 2 by 1. It is 7, negative 1. So that was my 2 by 1. So that was my new matrix. So we're going to practice. We'll do a few of these. We're going to practice. So if I look at my next one, I want to make sure I can multiply. So I have a 2 by 3. I have a 3 by 2. Oops, a 3 by 2. So, I don't like how I did that. Okay, so this looks good because it's a 3 by 3. My result is going to be a 2 by 2. This is going to be my result. So now let's go ahead. Let's think about this. Let's think about this again. Now I'm going to think about across. This time I have 3. So I'm going to do negative 3, 4, 2, 5, 0, 4. So I did across. Now I'm going to do down, but I'm going to write it horizontally. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go my column 4, 3, negative 2. So now I'm going to multiply each thing. So here I have negative 6 times negative 3 plus 2 times 4 plus 3 times 2. And if I think about this, when I go ahead and do this, this is 18 plus 8 plus 6. My answer here is 32. I do the same thing. I would go ahead here, this becomes negative 6 times 5 plus 2 times 0 plus 3 times 4. So negative 30 plus 0 plus 12. So this is going to be negative 18. Then I would do the same thing. I have 4 times negative 3 plus 3 times 4 plus negative 2 times 2. So I have negative 12 plus 12 plus negative 4, which gives me a negative 4. Again, I'm doing the same thing. Remember, 4 times 5 plus 3 times 0 plus 4 times negative 2. 20 plus 0 minus 8, which is going to give me 12. So my new matrix, let me make this smaller. My new matrix is going to go ahead and be 32, negative 4, negative 18, and 12. Now, if I look at my next one, I have a 3 by 2, and I have a 1 by 4. Well, since these are not the same, I can't multiply. So I would just write can't multiply. Let's go ahead. We could multiply this 3 by 3 and this 3 by 2. I'm going to give you that answer, and I'm going to have you guys check that. This is going to be 12, 11, negative 31, 6, 11, and 4. So check to see if you can get that one. Let's go ahead. Let's try example 8. This is a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So obviously these are the same. My result would be a 2 by 2. Let's go ahead and let's do this one. My rows would be 2, 4, 3, negative 1. My columns would be 5, 2. Oops, I don't need that last parenthesis. 1, 6. So remember, I would go ahead and do 5 times 2. 5 times 2, and then 2 times 4. I would do the same thing. I would do 5 times 3 plus 2 times negative 1. So this is going to be 18. This is going to be 15 and negative 2, which is 13. I would do 1 times 2 plus 6 times 4, which is going to be 26. This is going to be 1 times 3 plus 6 times negative 1, which this is going to be negative 3. So my new answer is going to be 18, 26, 13, negative 3. So go ahead and try example 7 on your own. And this is one way that you could multiply. There are other ways that you could multiply. I feel that this is the easiest way to keep things on track. Other teachers might teach it a little bit differently, but I feel this is the easiest way to keep things on track. All right, have a great day.